A couple years back, I got invited to a simple race with a few other YouTubers. All you had to do was beat the first gym of Pokemon Crystal, but give up complete and entire control to Twitch chat. Before this race, I actually didn't even stream on Twitch. So Doug invited me to this event, not fully knowing one, how much this would change everything for me, and two, I am very stubborn. I lost this race in an embarrassing fashion as it took my chat over 1 hour to simply make it past the first ledge. Sure enough, when it was all over, I wasn't gonna give up. In fact, I was gonna keep on going. Twitch chat took our hero named Ick and piloted him all the way through the Elite Four to become champion of the Johto region. This part didn't make it in the last video, but they also made it all the way through the Kanto region and defeated Red, with only a little bit of divine intervention. So with both of these regions conquered, where do we turn to now? Yeah, we're playing Emerald. However, for the duration of this run, I'm gonna be out of town. This was filmed in December. Like, I'm visiting family for the holidays, but I still wanted to keep the people entertained, you know? So I went ahead and took care of all the divine intervention parts early, as this version of Emerald has some slight differences. Most notably, all encounters are entirely random, including legendaries. Obviously, a massive conglomerate of Alpharad viewers can't be trusted to manage resources, but they sure as hell are good at pressing the subscribe button. Eh? Anyways, I was kind enough to provide chat with everything they could ever need for this adventure. Rare candies, a Master Ball, full restorers, you name it, they've got it. I only had about an hour left before my flight, and when the game booted up, our trainer was named... Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that one, so we all called her Gamertag Nevada. So after she spawned into the world of Pokemon, chat collectively chose Torchic as the starter and named him Big Jack. Yeah, this roughly translates to Big Jack. Now, I'd love to show you what happened next, but I left to get on my plane and lost all the footage. So, good news and bad news. Bad news, I can't show you what happened, but good news, I wrote the script before I lost the footage. It's inconvenient, sure, but that's why I've hired ToastieV, a Twitch Plays historian, to draw silly little pictures for the rest of the story. So, where was I? Gamertag Nevada and the rest of chat found themselves trapped in Petalburg Woods, surrounded by several terrifying creatures. Keep in mind, these wild Pokemon are purely random, irrelevant of any typical encounter table. As soon as a battle starts, there is a 1 in 386 chance for it to be anything, even a level 3 Gengar. Miss Nevada was lucky in catching not only Binu, but also found a shiny Slacking named Zizzy. One of the fun parts of Twitch Plays Pokemon is simply trying to decipher names out of nonsense. Like, what do you mean thousands of people unanimously agree this one's name is Gender Slash? It took 6 hours to escape this forest, but sure enough, chat eventually made it to Rustboro City and prepared a team for Roxanne. During this process, chat took advantage of my earlier blessings and dipped into the seemingly infinite bag of rare candies. This would lead you to believe that the first gym battle was easy, but no. Chat tried very hard to catch Roxanne's nose pass and wiped not once, but twice. Even though Torchic went in at level 31, a barrage of sand attacks was not enough to bring it home. Luckily, on the third time, an overleveled Zizzy pulled through and secured the first gym badge. All it took was a Pokemon whose base stats matched both Groudon and Kyogre. All in all, just under 8 hours to beat one gym. Not terrible, but not exactly promising. On the bright side, chat's morale was incredibly boosted from the win over Roxanne, and making it to Dewford only took 2 hours. That's fast as far as I'm concerned. Believe it or not, with the level 14 Gengar, Gamertag Nevada took down Brawly on her very first attempt. Twitch Plays Pokemon is a game of momentum, and Granite Cave was here to put it to rest. Chat spent multiple hours aimlessly wandering around this place, all while wiping multiple times despite Big Jack now being a level 40 Torchic. But it wasn't all a waste of time, because chat's trainer came across the one Pokemon who would go on to be the lone protagonist of the run, a Feraligatr named BBC. That's right, the British Broadcasting Crocodile. But over time, the people also started calling him the Cake Boss because, well, Twitch Plays also has a way of producing villains out of things you'd never expect. One-tile gaps, ledges, conveyor belts, things you never give a second thought become obstacles that can eat several hours worth of time. Here, as the madness sets in around hour 3 of wandering through Granite Cave, the run's true antagonist revealed itself. the PC. 60 whole minutes pass of over 3,000 unique viewers all trying to take control over the PC. They deposit the entire team, attempt to withdraw it, just to deposit them all over again. Even jailing BBC and forcing Big Jack to join them. Many in chat were ready to throw in the towel entirely. "We need democracy," they cried. However, they misunderstood the purpose of this little experiment. This was never about chat success. This was about entertainment. And the show must go on. With spirits low and an empty team consisting of an Aggron and a Wurmple, chat ventured out to the cave again. And like an angel from above, down came Deoxys. ATM, the Wurmple landed a lucky poison sting, inflicted status, and chat somehow made it to the bag. Gamertag Nirvana threw one singular Ultra Ball and secured one of the most important catches of the run. Yes, before I left I might have lowered the catch rate, but everybody was proud and I didn't want to take it away from them. Until now. Catching the Deoxys was a great start, but unfortunately, this team of 3 wiped to a random level 8 Raikou and got booted out of Granite Cave for like the 12th time. Given this, chat finally dove back into the PC, rescued Big Jack the Torchic, and ran right back into the dark abyss of Granite Cave. Well, I guess it's more of a walk, meandering at best, but after another hour, they found Steven Stone and finally made their way out of this infernal labyrinth. More importantly, they left their first great villain, the PC, squarely in the dust. Now, all that's left to do is enter the Poke Center, heal the team, and hey, no! Get away from the PC! Oh, okay. Crisis averted. After undergoing the apparently difficult task of not only talking to Mr. Briny, but also correctly selecting Slateport as their destination, like, we put some miles on that boat, okay? Eventually, chat ended up on the sandy beach and this journey was finally back on track. Sure, they ended up targeting their own Pokemon repeatedly throughout double battles and wiped, but after sailing back and defeating a few awkward grunts, it was time to catch a new friend. Of course, while I was gone, chat wanted to do something kind in my honor and caught my favorite Pokemon, Absol. Then they tried to name it Ace and didn't completely succeed, but it was close enough for the name to stick. Then Gamertag ran into this run's next big obstacle, Brendan. Even though Torchic was pushing level 40 and had been tearing through the game so far, all it took was one rogue press of the B button across thousands of viewers on each level up to prevent Combusken from ever appearing on screen. At least, even in its baby form, Torchic proved strong enough to handle everything on the rivals team except for his ace, who didn't have multiple people sabotaging its evolution. Big Jack fainted, and so did the rest of the team. Gamertag Nevada was not known for winning, but she was known for catching. You know how N always had a new random team every time you fought him consisting of nearby Pokemon in the area? Yeah, she's kind of like that, but oh, look, she's trying to catch a Jirachi and she ran away from it. Okay, got it, sure. Chat came together and wiped to Brendan yet again, but at least they're getting better at dodging future catastrophes at the PC whenever they end up in the Poke Center. So after thinking long and hard on a solution, chat realized the answer was with them the whole time. So they reach into the infinite bag of rare candies and start desperately throwing them at the entire team. Even with their notoriously unsteady hand, chat managed quite a few level ups. But one of the other major villains of this run reared its ugly head yet again, the B button. Wurmple had 20 evolutions denied by it, while Big Jack had an extra 8. You know what? Sure, it's fine. I mean, a level 27 Wurmple probably can do it. After all, it knows a total of 3 moves. I know they made good progress here, but this level 20 Marshtomp is seemingly invincible. With only 5 Pokemon on hand, they picked up a Nidoran to round out the team and named him Becky. Upon being caught, Becky also got spoiled by rare candies and denied a total of 13 evolution attempts. It also didn't help that Nidoran recently learned Helping Hand and replaced its top move with it, which means that the next time they saw Brendan, Nidoran gave Marshtomp an extended standing ovation and died. Well, it wasn't a wipe, like at least the level 50 Torchic was there to finally take down the Marshtomp and make some long-awaited progress towards Mauville City. Naturally, Torchic's evolution was blocked again, but at this point, who cares? Chat steamrolled through a couple double battles and actually made use of Becky's Helping Hand. Then, against all odds, Gamertag walked up towards the city, found Wally, and defeated his Ralts on the first attempt. However, when it came to Watson, this team was still incredibly lacking. Like Big Jack, sure, they're amazing, but at at the end of the day, it's just a Torchic. When fighting the first gym trainer, Torchic somehow tanked an incoming self-destruct, but he could not finish the job, and the rest of the team was still dead from Brendan. Yeah, we never healed. After a few miscellaneous failed attempts to beat Watson, it became clear that chat needed help. So they dug back into the rare candy goodie bag, and this time they made it count. TBC is no longer a tiny big crocodile, but instead a big giant crocodile at a staggering level of 62. Yeah, maybe giving them access to rare candies was a bad idea. Despite being at a massive type disadvantage, the people's favorite croc effortlessly hydro pumped his way to a third gym badge. With all these level ups, Gamertag's team should be covered on the battling front for a good while. Now it's time to see how well can chat handle the Hoenn overworld. They headed back to Mauville to pick up the required HM of Rock Smash, but then it was time to take on the Wind Straits, a very difficult and entirely optional series of fights. Sure, Feraligatr is level 63 and capable of taking down an entire family with ease, but the true challenge was found in these two tiny rocks. Like Granite Cave, a new villain stood before our chat-possessed trainer. Using Rock Smash alone isn't the problem. All you have to do is walk up and press A, but that can only happen if you've already gotten past the actual hard part, teaching Rock Smash to a Pokemon. Gamertag Nevada seemed stumped and paced around for 15 whole minutes before even loading up an HM. Flash, so close. Pretty quickly though, chat navigated to Rock Smash, taught it to Ace, and made it through. This took 2 hours. So let's hope they can do this a few more times since they still have to teach the other required HMs of Hoenn: Surf, Strength, Dive, and Waterfall. Though for now, the goal is Mount Chimney and the start of the Team Magma plotline. With real progress actually being made, things were really looking up. Especially after Big Jack was finally spared and managed to evolve into a slightly bigger Jack, a Combuskin. Now formally on the way to Mount Chimney, chat started scooping up Pokemon like it was their full-time job. Agatha the Melodic, Adash the Jigglypuff, Goral the Mantine, Cabbage the Bagon, Sapphic the Lotad, T the Zigzagoon, and unnamed Suicune. Like, the point is, they caught a lot of Pokemon over the last few hours and made absolutely zero progress in the actual game. About 8 hours after defeating Watson, chat finally boarded the lift to Lava Ridge Town. Team Magma's only hope was that Gamertag Nevada would stay lost and distracted because they were simply not prepared for the team that was coming after them. But yeah, like mainly the level 64 Feraligatr. Yeah, that'll do it. After a quick hot tub stream in Lava Ridge, Flannery's gym went about as expected, where the most challenging obstacle was simply getting inside. The maze shouldn't have been easy either, but somehow that's when all of chat entirely locked in and solved it in a matter of minutes. Once they managed to actually talk to Flannery, the battle was halfway over. The British broadcasting croc completely washed her entire team. Really, the gym was just a detour on chat's journey to catch them all. The next destination was Petalburg City, so everybody watching could fight their collective dad. On the way, we caught a few new friends, but nothing too significant happened until Gamertag Nevada encountered a shadow of the past, the reincarnation of Babu. If you know anything about the last Twitch Plays Pokémon experience, you know that everybody is going to be exceptionally normal about the Skiploom they just caught and named XD. Yeah, forget fighting Norman, chat now has a new shared singular purpose: rescue the new Babu from the box. I mean, last time they spent a whole night switch training Hoppip so it could learn any other move besides Splash. I know you are already aware of the disaster that can occur the second that PC turns on, but chat, they didn't care. Their minds had been taken over by Babu, or perhaps Babu's descendant. Whatever collateral damage may come to the team, it didn't matter, as chat was determined to get XD out of the box or die trying. Well, they did deposit 93 max revives, and oh, hey look, there goes the British broadcasting croc. This is bad. No, this is chaos. Chat spent the next 15 minutes grabbing just about every Pokemon they had besides the ones they actually wanted. Don't forget, it's not just XD and BBC in there, but even the starter Big Jack. Just as things looked hopeless with their team filled with, let's say unlikely sweepers like Wurmple and Nincada, the Prophet returned. With XD on the team, chat's focus was restored. Yes, it took almost an hour to retrieve the new Babu, but within 15 minutes, they managed to fish out both Big Jack and the famous croc. Sure, there was an empty team slot, but perhaps the most clear-headed moment shared across thousands of minds, chat ran out of the Poké Center as fast as they could. At this point, the croc is level 74. Sure, Big Jack and Babu 2 were a pretty high level as well, but the croc is level 74! Norman's best hope hope in winning this fight was his tactical placing of one-tile doorways scattered across the gym that obviously walled Chat's trainer out, but only for a little while. Eventually, they made it through and the Croc swept Norman without breaking a sweat. The Croc is level 74, by the way. Now, Chat was once again forced to take on basic menuing. They had a perfect surf user waiting in the wings with BBC, but the question was, can they teach it? After all, it took half an hour to learn Rock Smash. We might be here a while. 3 hours later, Chat somehow managed to open up the HM bag. They didn't manage to teach Surf, but BBC did end up learning Strength. It would be required eventually, so it wasn't a complete loss. At this point, they were just taking whatever wins they could. On the bright side, it only took a total of 3 hours and 16 minutes to teach the British Broadcasting Crocodile how to surf. And there's still 2 more required HMs left to learn. All of Chat tried their hardest to not think about that part as they pushed onwards towards Fortree City and the 6th gym badge. On this path, none of the trainers here can even dream of challenging Gamertag Nevada. Not only has our new Babu grown incredibly strong, but the Croc is a bit overpowered at a towering level 77. Also, I mentioned earlier that I gave Chat a Master Ball. Personally, I think it's funny to give them one because whatever Chat ends up using it on is guaranteed to be hilarious. Back in Johto, Chat threw the Master Ball in the trash, and in Kanto, they accidentally left it in the PC for the entire adventure. So despite running away from over a dozen different legendaries this run, Chat finally decided to use a Master Ball. I mean, Aerodactyl's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, not my choice for a Master Ball, but at least they used it this time. So before they could take on Winona in Fortree City, there were a few things they had to do first. To start off, Chat's new team had to roll through the Weather Institute where Team Aqua didn't have a single answer to Big Jack, the level 55 Combuskin. After they reluctantly accepted Abs the cast form, they killed their rival, snagged the Devon Scope from Steven, cleared the Kecleon, and managed to enter the Fortree Gym, all in about 2 hours. You know, just about an hour less than the time it took them to teach Surf. Anyone with any amount of Twitch Plays experience can have one look at this screen to know that the gym is going to be a problem. Not necessarily because of the trainers, although the double battles and Chat's erratic targeting did end up causing a wipe, but mainly because this is one of the more precise gym challenges in the entire game. These turnstiles flip whenever you walk through and then end up blocking your paths if they aren't arranged correctly. Sure, Chat probably can eventually solve the puzzle, but how long do you think it'll take? Yeah, this one took a while. Fast forward, and Big Jack took everybody's combined frustrations out on Winona's helpless birds and earned the 6th gym badge. The British Broadcasting Croc and Big Jack were teaming up to take on anyone and everyone. With only 2 gym badges left, combined with the overpowered team that Chat currently has, there's truly no reason to ever turn on one of those cursed PCs ever again. Oh god, why are they turning on the PC? Oh my god, they just dumped the entire team! The new team Chat put together in their infinite wisdom wiped almost as soon as they set foot outside the Pokemon Center. This team was built upon scraps. So back to the PC they went and quickly managed to fish out BBC once again. They left the other big threats behind, but 1 giant croc and 5 tiny creatures should be enough to beat the game, right? The first mission for this ragtag group is to stop Archie from departing with the submarine. After listening to his unhinged rant about orbs, the croc tried to push through Team Aqua's barrage of water types. Sure, he carried the team pretty far, but the first attempt to get through with what was effectively a team of 1 failed. So, you know what that means. Let's open the PC, and after 10 minutes, all they've accomplished is releasing Buddy the Ditto and replacing the Croc with the level 25 Paris. Great. The next hour was spent constructing a new team, then depositing it back into the box, then constructing a new team, you get it. Eventually, Big Jack and BBC were saved, which means it's time to turn off the PC and hopefully for good. At least Chat has reached Lily Cove City and now allows Ginger Slash to take center stage in a Pokemon contest. Sadly, they failed, but they did try their best. So with Chat's pageant dreams dead in the water, the only thing left to do is provide the rest of the team with performance-enhancing drugs and reach the highest levels imaginable. Of course, Big Jack and BBC are both already a high enough level to decimate everything in their path, but they're going to reach a point pretty soon where strength alone is not going to be enough. But hold that thought, because something incredible just happened. Combuskin has evolved and chat is ready to take on the world. I mean, I hope so, because they just went back into the bag and threw away every single rare candy they had left, which makes sense. The biggest Jack got his first chance to strut his stuff, and strut he did and destroyed Brendan one last time. With that, chat has now reached the backtracking portion of Pokemon Emerald. Thankfully, all they have to do to avoid wasting multiple hours walking back to Lava Ridge Town is, oh god, teach Fly. Oh, wait, no, they did in like 5 minutes. Oh. How? After discovering Team Magma's secret hideout, chat was immediately blocked by areas of strength boulders. More specifically, this one. Luckily for the thousands of people watching, it was actually just a few hundred. This happened at 5 a.m. Most active chatters were now asleep, and the remaining players all took turns trying to solve the puzzle and beat it in record time. Given how overpowered the whole team is at this point, Gender Slash made light work of Maxie's final attempt at a battle. I know that yes, chat has the luxury of using Fly to go back to Lily Cove, but given how hard it was to simply select the city they wanted, they just walked instead, all across Hoenn, only to learn that they actually had to go to Slateport so they could learn that they needed to hunt down Archie and his submarine back in Lily Cove. Incredible. Despite that, chat managed to fly back to Fortree City, which I guess is close enough. After a short walk over, the team of Big Jack and BBC decimated Team Aqua's hideout just like they did to their fiery counterparts. Now it's time to head to the Moss Deep City Gym, where Tate and Liza, normally one of the more difficult double battles, are waiting to get trounced by these two massively overleveled starters. That is, if we don't run into targeting issues again. Oh, also, I forgot. The gimmick to this gym is yet another puzzle. With the majority of chatters slowly starting to wake up, they were gonna be here for a while. It's honestly kind of a miracle that they even made it here at all, but despite all their wasted time, every now and again, there was a couple seconds or so of brilliance, and then immediately followed by some not so brilliant. Yeah, it took about 2 hours to find the twins, but once they did, it was showtime. If any gym leader was gonna challenge the combination of Big Jack and Big Croc, it was gonna be Tate and Liza. Not because they're any stronger than the 8th gym leader, but because chat is struggling to get through a double battle without hitting themselves. As usual, chat's greatest enemy is chat. But this time around, they collected their 7th gym badge without a single casualty. From there, Gamertag headed over to the space station where Team Magma is up to no good once again. Now chat has to team up with Steven and take down Maxie and Tabitha, who they've already destroyed a couple times. Yet the hardest part, it turns out, is the screen where they choose 3 Pokemon to fight alongside Steven. And they chose correctly. With Team Magma defeated once again, chat has really hit the home stretch of Emerald's story, and it feels fitting that the beginning of the end is appropriately marked by chat attempting to teach Dive. And they have entirely lost it. They tried counting, they tried spamming, and nothing was working. Similar to the strength puzzle from before, when they approached the later hours of the day, all of chat came together with a new plan: shutting up. This went from Twitch Plays Pokémon to one person plays Pokemon and everybody else silently agrees. Sure enough, the Croc has now learned how to use Dive. Alas, the challenge is not truly over, as Archie had a little surprise for everybody hidden on the seafloor cavern. Another strength puzzle. Normally, messing up is fine since all you have to do is leave the room, but even that is hard to do with thousands of other co-pilots. Gamertag Nevada slammed her face in these boulders over and over again, forced to walk down to the bottom exit every time she wanted to try again. And it was like this for a whole hour, with chat constantly closing off their own path to victory. By some inevitable miracle, on the 73rd hour of straight gameplay, chat managed to work this puzzle into a state where they had a singular chance to win, and they pulled through. They were so shocked by the turn of events that they aimlessly wandered around the next room for roughly about as long as it took them to solve the previous puzzle. There wasn't really a discernible reason for this. Maybe everybody used up their remaining brain cells on solving the strength puzzle. Either way, after chat collected themselves, the Croc washed Archie one last time and caused the world to flood, and also drought somehow. Which means, at long last, Groudon versus Kyogre. They're gonna destroy the world if chat can't do something fast. Well, they first flew to Moss Deep, started the trek to Pseudopolis, headed straight to the Cave of Origin to find Wallace, and learned about Sky Tower. With that, the next destination point was set, and despite failing to catch Raikou for like the 10th time this run, Sky Pillar went pretty smoothly. When you visit in the main story, you luckily don't have to worry about the Mach Bike maze, so after making it to the top, Rayquaza was swiftly awakened and told the others to stop. That's it, and just like that, the story's over. Chat then says goodbye to the eco-terrorists who accidentally admitted to committing eco-terrorism, and then they prepare their team in hopes of earning the final gym badge. And any other Twitch Plays run, this gym would have been a run-ender, since it requires more precision than anything else in the game. I mean, several Pokemon fanatics throughout history have failed here, regardless if they have thousands of hours in the game or not. Little did chat know that before I went out of town, I requested one change to be made to this game. Here, hold on. I can actually pull this footage up.
I bet Jacob 100 gifted subs that you guys wouldn't be able to beat the ice gym without any help at all. So here's the thing, right? I made that bet with Jacob, and he didn't tell me that you don't have to do it. You just go up 20 times in a row. So I need you guys to spam down. I need as many downs as there are. Down, guys, down! Please!
Oh,
please,
I think
down,
I think they've done it.
No!
This is awesome.
Look, it's not that I thought chat was incapable of solving the normal puzzle. I just don't think chat was capable of solving the normal puzzle. Anyways, time to get that final gym badge, huh? Unfortunately, nobody was better equipped to stop the Croc than Hoenn. Bulky water types everywhere, and with BBC really forgetting how to do everything else besides surfing and fine diving, he didn't exactly have the best moveset to deal with other water-type Pokemon. Sure, the Croc was able to whittle down Hoenn's team, but the last one's a real monster. Chipping away on Kingdra seems easy enough until you see its last move. Rest. If you can't take him all the way down, this Kingdra is just gonna keep on healing and healing and healing, and God did he. Chat had to have a steady hand here because they didn't really have any other Pokemon who could fight at this high of a level. Big Jack was the second in command, sure, but fire types can't even make a dent on Kingdra. After a gauntlet of rest and full restores about half an hour in, Hoenn's Kingdra finally ran out of rest PP, thus allowing one final quad-resisted water gun from the Croc to finish the fight with all 8 gym badges acquired. All Gamertag Nevada has to do to be the very best like no one ever was is make it through Victory Road. But before you can do that, you have to teach a Pokemon the HM of Waterfall. So first, open the bag. Oh, that's not a bag, that's a PC. Apparently, they're trying to rescue the second coming of Babu and in turn, accidentally changed the text speed to slow. Great job, guys. At least they came together and were able to teach Waterfall to everybody's favorite Feraligatr in about half an hour, which compared to their previous efforts is an entirely new record. I know I'm telling the story as it goes, but something I am continuously leaving out is just how many Pokemon they caught this run. With random encounters and tons of Ultra Balls, Gamertag Nevada had a farm of several different species, ranging from Caterpie to a Snorlax to a Latios to a Kyogre, Paris, Altaria, Quagsire, Nidoqueen, Feebas, Walrein, and a Dragonite named Babe. That's not even the translated name, they just somehow typed in Babe. Point is, they caught a lot of Pokemon. Sure, a good amount of them were legendaries, but chat only seemed to care about 3 of them. Since they weren't going to even attempt Victory Road without those 3 in the party, chat was determined to go back for Big Jack. They felt like they could do anything, and for once, they were right. 15 minutes later, Big Jack, XD, and the British Broadcasting Crocodile were united once again. Just kidding, they accidentally deposited the Skiploom again. Whatever. Eventually, they realized that a level 89 Feraligatr and a level 65 Blaziken was more than enough for something like Victory Road. It took 2 hours of scrambling around in the dark, but chat eventually reached the Pokemon League. Gamertag Nevada was ready to take on the last 5 trainers standing between her and the ultimate goal of becoming champion. The Croc washed away Sydney's team with ease, blasting through even his 3 water resist with Surf. And that's where chat learned Feraligatr is very strong when he has a 40 level lead on the competition. Unfortunately, he ran out of Surf PP on Phoebe's first Pokemon. Sure, Dive hits hard enough to get through her team, but that's another low PP move with the pressure on. Then Glacia had a similar team to Juan in the sense that it was only made to slow Feraligatrs down. Despite this, through sheer determination and waterfall spam, Glacia fell to a Pokemon whose moveset is composed entirely of HMs. Following that, Drake's Dragons gave Chat's team their first truly difficult battle. Not only do the Dragons resist BBC's water attacks, but they also resist Big Jack's fire moves and Fake Babu's grass moves. Then things got especially scary when Drake's Altaria came in and started setting up with Dragon Dance. If it wasn't for some absolutely clutch plays in the bag using full restores, this run through the Elite Four ended before Gamertag even made it to the champion. But once Feraligatr was healed up, the Croc hit a massive strength, a critical hit. The British broadcasting crocodile muscled his way through the rest of Drake's team, and with that, there was only one trainer remaining. So Gamertag Nevada healed up her team, took a few steps forward, and prepared to take on Wallace. Or so she thought. Chat's final enemy was none other than Chat from a past life. Ick was the champion of Twitch Plays Crystal. So to see this game through to the end, Chat had to beat the team that they built themselves to take down Red. Ick led with AB Kitty the Persian, whose level paled in comparison to Chat's new lead of Feraligatr, until they came face to face with another Johto starter of Hisser the Typhlosion, who was made famous for their cutting ability. Sure enough, the Croc didn't even care about the knife he was somehow wielding. He had a custom sprite, by the way. I just want to show that one off. Then came out Abacus, and all of Chat's momentum stopped immediately. Ick was ready to start trying. Down goes the Croc, and a few of the low-level spectators Chat dragged along for the ride. Sure, Big Jack cleaned up Abacus, but he had a long road ahead of him. And this next Pokemon was ready to end it all. Hi, the Gyarados was the ultimate counter to this dynamic duo. High resists all of the Croc's water moves, High resists both fire and fighting, so without putting up much of a fight, it was back to the Pokemon League lobby. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And the next few hours were an example of insanity. Without making any significant changes to the team, Chat kept diving headfirst into the Elite Four and started doing worse and worse on every subsequent attempt. Luckily, at the same time, I was getting off my plane and ready to return home. So when I pulled out my phone and noticed they were stuck on the Pokemon League, I knew that I was going to see it to the end too. After a few more failed attempts and an overpriced Uber for me, I was finally back in the driver's seat. Wait, oh my god, wait, we have footage now. Okay, so I didn't want to do everything for Chat as they've done a lot of it on their own. So instead, I came to them with an offer. Since most of the chatters are too scared to open the PC, I'll go in myself and assemble the exact team that they can all agree to via voting. So nobody's surprised this election included Big Jack the Blaziken, BBC the Feraligatr, and Ginger Slash the Sand Slash. And since there were 3 spots left, Chat begged me to bring along XD the Skip Bloom, Ace the underleveled Absol, and a level 2 Feebas that didn't have a name. With Chat back in full control, I was sitting in the passenger seat, but still ready to throw out some advice that could help them through the first 4 members of Hoenn's Pokemon League. Again, I'd like to say thank you to ToastieV for making this entire video possible, but even though we have footage now, I'm gonna have to ask you to draw one more fight for me. Mainly because it's gonna be a big one. Gamertag Nevada returned to the champions room and locked eyes with a champion from a previous life. Both trainers relied on the same opening Pokemon as last time, and similarly, the Croc made quick work of Ick's first 3 Pokemon, AB Kitty, Hisser, and surprisingly Abacus. After a clutch full restore, even Christmas the Vileplume went down too. And just like that, the real fight has begun. Ick sent out Babu. Thankfully, BBC was not blinded by Babu's holy magnificence and managed to hit through paralysis to take down a former friend, even if it didn't feel good on the inside. But at least this did lead the team to Ick's secret weapon, Hi the Gyarados. I know this new team had 6 Pokemon, But let's be honest, everybody was on the back of the British Broadcasting Crocodile. Despite this though, Feraligatr simply did not have the damage output after a significant Intimidate from high. In the 11th hour, thousands of chatters agreed and switched to the false prophet of Skiploom. We all knew that this Pokemon could never replace Babu, but chat was hopeful that XD's Mega Drains could chip away at Ick's final Pokemon. But just when High fell into the red, Ick popped a devastating full restore, and soon the second generation of Babu dropped dead. And so did our poor sacrificial team fillers. Big Jack, Gender Slash, Ace, this level 2 Feebas that chat got obsessed with for some reason, all fell to High's onslaught. We had one Pokemon left. The hero of the story we all knew was being written. A fresh and rested Feraligatr took the stage, and with nearly all of his moves depleted, he used one last PP of strength before struggling. A critical hit. The game was over and a new champion was crowned. These two trainers had a lot in common, but it was time for Gamertag Nevada to enter the Hall of Fame. This was a wonderful journey that I was lucky enough to experience twice. But now, it's time for my Twitch chat to embark on an entirely new journey. A journey through the Unova region for the first ever Alpharad Subathon. 31 days of planned streams, several events, and every night filled with our third iteration of Twitch Plays Pokémon. So go to twitch.tv/Alpharad, follow for free, or subscribe to keep the stream going. Either way, I wish you all the best of luck and hope that you can all collectively find a new trainer and make them champion once again.